Hello everybody, it's lovely to see you again and welcome to this extended children's slot. Right, well, there's two readings for our little talk today. I'm going to read the first one, then the other. The first one comes from a book which Paul wrote to the church in Thessalonica, and 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verses 1 to, I think I'll go 1 to 8. And he's talking about when Jesus is going to come again. And he says, there's no need to write to you, friends, about the times and occasions when these things will happen. For you yourselves know very well that the day of the Lord will come as a thief comes at night. When people say everything's quiet and safe, then suddenly destruction will hit them. It will come as suddenly as the pains that come upon a woman in labour, and people won't escape. But you, friends, are not in the darkness, and the day shouldn't take you by surprise like a thief. All of you are children of light who belong to the day. We don't belong to the night or to the darkness. So then we shouldn't be sleeping like the others. We should be awake and sober. It's at night when people sleep. It's at night when they get drunk. But we belong to the day, and we should be sober. We must wear faith and love as a breastplate, and our hope of salvation as a helmet. So that's talking about being ready for Jesus to come again. And then the second reading, I'm going to read out of a different book called the Lion Storyteller Bible. So it's taking stories from the Bible, or stories from the Bible, and rewriting them a little bit. So this is the second one, which is a story that Jesus told. Once there was a man with money. Mounds of money, mountains of money, more money than you could imagine. One day the man decided to take a long trip. So he called 3 of his servants together and told them what he wanted them to do with his money while he was gone. The first servant was the hardest worker of them all. So the man said to him, here are 5 big bags of money. Use them wisely. We'll see how well you've done when I return. The second servant was a hard worker too. So the man said to him, here are 2 big bags of my money. Use them wisely. We'll see how well you've done when I return. But the third servant was not a hard worker at all. In fact, he was rather lazy. So the man gave him just 1 big bag of money. Use it wisely, he said. We'll see how well you've done when I return. So the man with money went away, and after a long, long time he came back again. Tell me, he said to the first servant, how did you get on? What did you do with my money? You gave me 5 big bags of money, said the first servant. I put them to work. I used them to do lots of good things. And look, I've made 5 more big bags of money. 10 bags altogether, exclaimed the man with money. Well done. You showed me I could trust you, and now I have much bigger things for you to do. And what about you, said the man with money to the second servant. How did you get on? What did you do with my money? You gave me 2 big bags of money, said the second servant. I put them to work as well. I used them to do lots of good things. And look, I made 2 more big bags of money. 4 bags altogether, exclaimed the man with money. Excellent. And now I have a better job for you as well. Finally, the man with money turned to the third servant. And how did you get on? He asked. The third servant hummed and hawed and looked at his feet. Well, sir, he said, I know how much you like your money and how disappointed you'd be if I lost it. So I just dug a hole in the ground and buried it. You gave me 1 big bag of money, so here's your great big bag of money back. The man with money was furious. Don't blame this on me, he said. I gave you that money to use, to put to work so that you could make more, and you just couldn't be bothered. Stuck it in a hole? If you'd taken the time to stick it in the bank, it would have at least made a little interest. Get out of my sight, you lazy man. You're sacked. And he took that servant's bag of money and gave it to the first servant. So off they went, the man with money and his 2 hard-working servants, off to bigger and better things. And the third servant, he walked sadly away in search of another job. Do you know, I once had some friends when I lived in Zimbabwe, and they were expecting a baby. You might know a lot of people are expecting a baby. This was a bit different because it wasn't like most people expecting a baby. Their baby was going to be adopted. So it meant that they didn't know exactly when
this baby was going to come along. It could have been next week, it could have been next month, it even could have been next year, and in fact it was, as it turned out. But they knew that the baby was going to come when there was a baby that needed a new family. They just didn't know exactly when it was going to be. So because they knew that they were going to have a baby, but they didn't know exactly when, they got ready. They got their bedroom ready for the baby. They got the bed ready. They got toys ready. They got the baby monitor ready. They got the car seat. They got all the things that you know that you're going to need when you have a new baby. They were ready. And also they told their friends and their families that they'd be ready too. And when that phone call came, it was very sudden. And in many ways, it was a complete surprise. But it wasn't really a surprise because they'd known for over a year that it would happen, but just not exactly when it would happen. And when it came, they were ready. They just had to get in the car and go and pick him up. Now, our Bible readings today are about that. We know that Jesus will come again one day, and when he does, all those who've chosen to follow him are going to be with him again. They're going to be with him forever in the new heaven and the new earth. But we don't know exactly when it's going to be. So it will be a surprise, but it won't really be a surprise because we know it's going to happen. We just don't know exactly when. It may be next week. It may be next month. It may be next year. It may be in 10 years' time, maybe in 100 years' time. We don't know. And just like my friends, we must be ready. Now, what does that look like for us? What does that look like? Does it mean that we have to get a bedroom ready? Does it mean that? No. Does it mean that we have to get new toys ready? No. Does it mean we have to get a new car seat? No. Paul says that what we need to get ready to be ready is we need to have faith. We need to be believing and following Jesus. We need to have love in our hearts for God and for others. We need to have the hope of salvation. That means knowing that we're part of God's family and that we're going to be with him forever and ever. But did you notice what else my friends did to get ready? They told their friends and family. They didn't keep this amazing news to themselves. So when the call came, their friends and their family were ready too. It was like they had this amazing treasure of news to come and they had to share it, not bury it underground and wait for the call for them by themselves. And you know, just like that, in our other reading, I think Jesus is saying we have this amazing good news, like treasure, that God loves us, that he wants us to be in his family, that he wants us to live with him forever and ever. We mustn't bury that and keep it secretly hidden. It's never going to grow like that. God's kingdom isn't going to grow. That treasure is there to be shared. It's there to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So let's be like that servant who took what his master had given him and made it bigger. Let's share this amazing treasure with our friends, with our family, with other people that we know, and let's see God's kingdom grow. Now, one of the passages which we talked about today also says is that as well as being ready, one of the ways which we're being ready is that we are acting as children of light. We are children who live in a world which can sometimes be dark, and we live in light, showing God's light and God's love out to others. And that's one of the ways in which we tell other people about God. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to play a bit with that idea, I suppose. So here I have a card. Okay, and here I have just some paint. I've just taken some blue paint from a bottle, one of those ready mixed paints, and I've added a bit of water to make it a bit more dilute. I'm going to take my card and I'm going to paint it just like that. I'll show you in a minute, because that's the whole point. Just painting the paint over the card big strokes like that. And look what has come out. Can you see? As I painted it, that mysterious message saying light came out. And that's a bit like us. When there's dark around us, when the world is hard and tough, which it is sometimes, it's quite a lot of the time, it can be really quite hard. We should be shining out like light around. So that's the activity today. And the way we do that is, I've got paint all over myself. The way we do that is that we take a card, or a piece of card that you folded, or you could also just do it with a piece of white paper. That's fine, doesn't really matter. And then you think to yourself, what would I like? I might do a card for somebody, or I might just do this as a magic trick, or I might do it just for myself. Think of what picture you'd like to do. Maybe you might like to do, as I did, a light bulb. Or I think what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do a heart. And then you take a candle, just like that, or any candle, it doesn't have to be this shape, any candle, or if you've got a white crayon, that would also work. And use that, that's very rude, isn't it? Use that to draw whatever pattern it is that you want on your card. So I'm going to draw a heart, okay? It's a bit tricky sometimes, you have to sort of remember where you've drawn, you can't see it, because it's white, so it's white on white. So draw, you can sometimes, if you have your head in just the right position, you can see the reflection. There we go. That's my heart. I might even colour it in a little bit. That's very risky because you can't quite see where the outlines are. Perhaps I would suggest don't try and colour it in. I'm wishing I hadn't started doing that. There we go. Colour, colour, colour. Ponk, ponk, ponk. And then I'm going to write love underneath it. And I'm going to, just like the light, I think I might do a few little stripes outwards from my heart. There we go. So that's my card. Who would know? But it is, that's my card. And then you can either say to your friend or your family member, you could just say, oh, I've given you a card. If you want to know what it says, take some ink and take some paint, diluted paint, and just paint over it. And my magic mystery message will be revealed. Or you might choose to do it yourself. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you once more. You just take a bit of paint, make it quite runny. See, it's quite runny. Drip, 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 drip. And then you just do broad strokes over your card. And it should come out just beautifully. I'll show you mine in a minute. I don't want to put too much paint on if it's that dilute because it can also get a bit wet. But there we are. That's mine. And when it's dried, you can write inside it. You can just put it up like that. There you go. That one says love. And that one says light. There. We need to be children of light in this dark world. And God will help us.